For nearly the last 2 decades, if you were looking to buy an Audi SUV that had seating for up to 7 people, you were looking at the Audi Q7. This is a vehicle that was introduced back in America in 2006, and even though it was late to the SUV party, it was an instant hit for Audi, which caused the company to, of course, introduce an all-new second generation back in 2017. Now, for 2024, the Q7 stays pretty much the same, but as you guys know, this space of 3-row large luxury SUVs is always very cutthroat. So as you can see, this week, Audi has loaned us the latest model, a 2024 Q7 55 TFSI with the Prestige package. This one here is painted in Watimo blue, and the big question I want answered, for those of you who are looking for a luxury 3-row family SUV that can seat up to 7 people, does the 2024 Audi Q7 still deserve your attention? Stay tuned to find out. So before we start talking about the exterior styling of the 2024 Audi Q7, I thought I'd pop the hood and remind you guys what's powering this thing. Now here in America, Audi offers a choice between 3 different powertrains. This model that I'm showing you here has the middle child, which is a 3-liter turbocharged V6. Now underneath all that plastic covering, you're going to find basically the same engine that you'll also find in vehicles like the Audi S4 and Audi S5. It's the company's 3-liter turbocharged. It's a single turbo direct injection V6 with their TFSI technology, of course. It also has a 48-volt mild hybrid system that's augmenting the engine, helping it to improve the start-stop and slightly improve the fuel efficiency. This engine replaced the old 3-liter supercharged V6 back in 2020, and the numbers are unchanged for 2024. It still makes 335 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. That torque figure is definitely on the higher end, even though the horsepower figure is about 20 horsepower less versus something like an MDX Type S, and about 40 horsepower less versus something like the BMW X7. Now, it all goes out through an 8-speed torque converter automatic that is built by ZF. And this vehicle comes standard with the company's Quattro all-wheel drive system. That's what Audis are known for, of course. Fuel economy did go up compared to the 2023 model that I tested last year. It's now rated at 19 in the city, 24 on the highway. Premium gas is going to be recommended. It has around a 22.5-gallon fuel tank. On a full tank, this thing was showing over 450 miles of range. So that's pretty good range considering this is just a mild hybrid and not like a full hybrid or a plug-in hybrid. If you guys want to save a little bit of money, Audi also offers a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder, which I haven't driven. Probably would skip that considering the weight of this vehicle. And there's also the SQ7, which I'm still hoping Audi will send me for a week, which has the 4-liter twin-turbo V8. This model here with the V6 will tow a maximum of 7,700 pounds. It should do 0 to 60, Audi says, in around 5.7 seconds with a top speed of around 130 miles an hour. And this is built off of the MLB Evo platform, something that it shares with the Bentley Bentayga, Lamborghini Urus, Porsche Cayenne. And as a result, it's a pretty heavy vehicle weighing in at just over 5,000 pounds. But let's go ahead and close up this hood and talk about the exterior styling. Now, first of all, this color is called Watimo blue, and I'm probably mispronouncing it, but it's a very dark blue. It kind of looks gray or black in certain lights, but as you can see with the sun kind of shining all over it, this is definitely still a very attractive SUV. Audi actually just showed off another second refresh for 2025, and while I wish this was the 2025 model, they just showed it off in Europe. It won't show up here in America probably toward late summer. You can build the 2025 models on Audi's website right now, but right now at dealerships, you're only going to find the 2024 model as of April 2024. Now you can see this Prestige model includes these upgraded digital light full LED headlights, which do a signature LED dance at night and projects a couple of things when the vehicle is parked. But you can see it also includes their signature sequential LED turn signal. It's got the laser light technology with the LED low and high beams along with all weather lights. That acts in place as the fog lights because, as you can see down here, you just have a functional air intake, nicely integrated parking sensors. You have the corporate single frame grille. Although my test car, I kind of wish had the S-Line Sport package, which is new for 2024. That would have gone a long way to making this vehicle look a little bit more like an SQ7. You can see there's a Quattro badge here. You can also get like a black optics package to kind of black out the chrome or the satin silver if you guys prefer. But overall, I think this car still is relatively handsome. Certainly looks better versus the pre-refresh model that was introduced prior to 2020, but I really am looking forward to seeing the 2025 model because Audi did just update it again, and I think it looks even more aggressive. Now, moving around the side profile, you can see this is the largest SUV that Audi currently makes. It's also their only 3-row model, and it's going to represent that in the dimensions. It's around 117.9 inches long in the wheelbase, with a 199.3-inch long overall length. Remember, this competes with vehicles like the new Lexus TX, which is around 4 inches longer, the Infiniti QX60, the Acura MDX. A BMW X7 and GS GLS is going to be larger and more expensive versus the Q7. So I'm curious to see if Audi makes this vehicle larger for the next generation. You can see the wheels. These are the rotor style wheel, a 20-inch wheel that comes standard with the Prestige package. You can also again add like an S-line package, which will increase the size up to 22 inches. You can see it's riding on a 285 by 45 R20 tire with these massive brakes. I don't particularly love the wheel design. I just think it looks really basic in this silver paint. With the Prestige package, it does include an air suspension, which can raise and lower the vehicle by up to 4.5 inches, especially if you have it in its high mode. This is in its normal setting now, which I believe has around 8-ish inches of ground clearance. You can see the Prestige model also includes integrated turn signals. It's got cameras around the entire vehicle, along with cameras on the underside of the side mirror. You can see there's chrome along the belt line, along with the roof rails. You can see also there's a panoramic sunroof. That's actually standard equipment. If you guys don't like the satin silver, again, there's like a sport package or a black optics package that'll black that out. And looking at the rest of the profile, you can see the Q7 to me looks a little bit more kind of like a raised wagon. I actually still prefer the look of the first generation Q7, but again, I haven't seen the 2025 significant refresh. Again, the second refresh coming that'll be here later this year. I suspect this generation will be around until probably 2027 when a new version is introduced. You can see looking at the rear, the design looks a little bit bland, but it's also interesting or instantly recognizable as an Audi. It's got the same dynamic full LED taillight design with the kind of silver, satin silver trim that goes across. There's a good amount of badging back here. The Quattro badge over there, you can see Audi used to put like an engine badge there, like 3-liter T, but you can see they've been doing away with that. My test car also has the tow package, which includes the hitch and the 4-pin connector. No visible exhaust tips. That's something I believe the SQ7 will give you. But overall, it's clean, if not a little bit boring looking to my eyes. But looking at the cargo area, you can see the trunk space of the Q7 is on the smaller end now compared to competitors, specifically vehicles like the new Lexus TX. This vehicle does come standard with a third row, Audi's only vehicle with a third row seat. But you can see behind the third row, you can see there's around 14.2 cubic feet of space, which is definitely on the small side. Something like the new Lexus TX offers as much as 21 cubic feet of space. Even the BMW X7 offers more space. You can see there is a little bit of underfloor storage here, although not really. There's like a little bit. You can see there's the jack and the inverter for the Bang & Olufsen stereo system. You can raise and lower the rear or the suspension from back here. You can also lower the third row by pushing this button. You can see you have to push and hold it. That's going to allow the third row to kind of fold flat. When you do fold flat the third row, you actually expand the cargo to around 31 cubic feet of space. And if you fold down the second row, which you can see is like in a 30-30-30 or split arrangement, that's going to increase the cargo to just under 70 cubic feet. Again, decent figures, but you're going to find about 20 more cubic feet in most of its rivals. So on the outside, the 2024 Audi Q7 has stayed the same, but let's go ahead and take a look at the interior of this car, because that's where, again, luxury buyers are going to be spending all of their time anyways. Before we get inside, you can see here is the current key fob for the Q7. This is the corporate Audi Intelligent Access key, which is standard in every model. It's a nice size key. I like the way it looks. I like the way it feels. It has your usual buttons here for lock. You have the power liftgate function, unlock, and then there's a panic function. There's no remote start from the fob. However, Audi did add remote start from your smartphone when you guys have access to the Audi MMI app on your smartphone, which is a great addition because that's what Audis were lacking for years, is remote start, but they do offer that feature now through your smartphone, which is new for 2024. Now you can see the door handle of the vehicle is very traditional. There's a little area here. If you touch that, that locks the door. It also folds in the mirrors if you have it set to do so. When you want to unlock it, just touch the back of the door handle. That unlocks the door for you. Audi, I believe right now doesn't offer phone as a key, at least not on this model. I believe they offer on other versions or other newer Audi models, but again, opening the door, you can see my particular test car with that dark blue exterior has this nice moonstone gray interior, which I believe is a newer color option. I definitely like the way this looks, although with this dark blue, I think a brown interior would have looked a little bit better. But you can see with the Prestige package, you get the upgraded leather seats. These also adjust, I believe, in 14 different ways. It's lacking the massage function. I think it's part of an extra luxury package that my test car is missing. But these are heated and ventilated. It offers two-person memory on the driver's side, not on the passenger side. You can see the door panel has a hard or soft touch injection molded plastic, although it could be softer. This is kind of the same style material on an MDX, which I really wanted this to be softer or stitched in leather. Audi does amazing matte finish wood. You can see this open pore black ash wood that you're seeing with this gray is definitely a nice color combination. It's nice and padded here with leather along this area. Down here it is hard or soft touch injection molded plastic again. There's some nice storage. You have the upgraded Bang & Olufsen stereo with this model, which sounds really good. If you guys are an audiophile, I highly recommend that. The window controls have that typical high quality feel. They're kind of metal accented and they're one touch for all four, which is nice. Your mirror controls are here. They're heated mirrors and they're power folding, like I mentioned earlier. But overall, the interior is still makes a great first impression. If you guys are familiar with Audis, you're gonna feel right at home in this cabin. Now getting inside, you can see the Q7 has a nice easy step-in height, which you can adjust based off of the air suspension. As I get in and shut the door, you don't even have to slam the door. The Prestige model includes a soft close feature, which is a nice feature to have, especially at this price point. If you want to slam the door normally, it has a nice solid sounding thunk. Audis and Volkswagen products typically do so anyways, and it makes a great first impression. Now starting the vehicle up, you can see the start stop button is located down here by the shifter. Put your foot on the brake. And you can hear it starts up almost like a hybrid because of the mild hybrid system, the 48 volt. It doesn't have a traditional starter noise, so the engine just kind of whirs to life. And then this interior, we've seen it before. Audi first introduced this, cockpit interior with the all-new infotainment systems back in 2020. The 2025 model essentially still looks the same. Audi is getting ready to show off a new interface, a new infotainment system. But again, I'm not expecting that to show up for another couple more years, but you can see you have the latest version of their virtual cockpit instrument panel. It's a 12.4-inch display, which allows you to kind of customize the way that looks. You can also put in your driver assistance. You can put in your radio information, phone information, and of course, there's the GPS function. It uses Google Maps. Love the way that looks. You can also change the way the gauge display looks going into the actual interface, which is a nice touch. You can see heads-up display is also included with the Prestige package, which is nice. You have on the upper portion of the dash the same soft touch injection molded plastic. That's just a fake stitching material, but it's nice how it's at least contrasting. A lot of piano black going across the dash, which I don't love. It shows dust and fingerprint smudges easily. Love the wood trim, which is kind of splashed from the door panel onto the dash. I love the way the dash vents look with their continuous design. You have some real metal trim on the upper portion over there. And then the steering wheel, you can see if you guys go for the S-Line package, you'll have a different look to the steering wheel with S-Line badging. This is the standard wheel, which has some nice leather material, no contrast stitching. It does offer a power tilt telescoping function along with paddle shifters. You have your controls here to control the virtual cockpit. That controls your adaptive cruise, which is now standard on every version of the Q7 for 2024, which is nice. The horn, it sounds pretty nondescript and appropriate given the size of the vehicle. And overall, this area here is relatively easy to use. Your headlight control is over here. Most of you will leave it on the automatic function. There's your all-weather lights, which kind of function as a fog light. Down here, you can see there's a nice little storage area, which is great. It's a nice hidden storage area. It's a cubby that's lined with felt. As well, which I really like. And then over here in the infotainment display, you can see there's a 10.1-inch display here, an 8.6-inch secondary touchscreen to control the climate function. So that replaces the single screen layout that you had in the pre-refreshed Q7. Again, that screen is starting to look a little bit small compared to its competitor. Think of like a BMW X7 or X5 that has a 14.5-inch display. The Lexus TX has a 14-inch display. The MDX has a 12.3-inch display. The Infiniti even has a 12.3-inch display. So this is definitely, in need of an update in terms of the screen size. I mean, just give it another 2 to 4 inches would be great. You can see it does include wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It also includes over-the-air updates. That screen looks pretty decent still in terms of the graphics. It's just, again, starting to look a little bit small. I like how the native system stays to the left over here. If you'd like, you can also put the GPS function over here in the screen, along with in the screen over there. Love the Google Maps. That still is one of the best looking in the industry. And if you want to adjust other functions, you can go into the vehicle settings here. You can adjust the driver assistance, the drive select, of course. You can also go into the lights and visibility. That can adjust the ambient lighting in this vehicle, which Audi does pretty decent ambient lighting, although it's not quite as intricate and beautiful as, some of the new Mercedes and BMW models, but it still definitely is nice. It's a great feature to have, especially at this price point. Down here, you can see there's your dual zone climate control system, which allows you to kind of access a couple of things like your start stop, defeat button, your downhill assist control. You can also turn off the head-up display here. Your heated and cooled seat function is also here. It's an actual touch button. Audi allows you to kind of do the heat and ventilation at the same time. My test car is missing the air fragrance package that will basically waft a perfume into this interior, which I kind of wish it had. Would like to see that, especially standard on the Prestige model. You can see there's nice leather padding over here, more of that beautiful wood. And then there are some actual hard button controls for the driver assistance, your auto parallel park function. If you push that button here, you can see that brings up your full 360 camera, which also gives you a 360 perimeter scan where you can kind of, you know, look around the entire vehicle. The graphics and resolution is good. It also has parking sensors front and rear. Down here you can see this controls the 8-speed auto. There's a trigger button here on the side that you push, pull it up, push forward to go to reverse, kick it down to go into drive, push the P button to go to park. There's also another sport mode here in the transmission, and there's also a manual mode here that you can also shift manually here or use via the paddle shifters. Which is nice. You can see electronic parking brake here. You have a nice padded center console area. If you open this up, it's a little bit on the narrow or shallow side. That's the word I was looking for. But you can see there's a wireless phone charging pad here, which fits my iPhone 14 Pro Max nicely. And it does reliably charge my phone as well. You can see, again, it's not the deepest center console area, but it does allow you to kind of slide it forward and back, which is nice. The seats are very comfortable and supportive. I wish my test car had the massage function, but they are heated and ventilated. The leather also feels pretty nice, high quality. You can see the glove compartment there is huge. It's damped and not lined, or it is lined with felt. Above me here, you can see there's a nice digital or frameless rear view mirror that's auto dimming, no digital camera rear view mirror. You can see there's a woven material here. You have LED map lighting in the interior as well, along with this big panoramic glass roof, which is standard. You can see it also has a retractable shade, and if you want to open it up, it also does open up to vent air, and it only opens up over the 2 front seats. But again, it's a nice feature to have. Most competitors allow you to do this, although most EV competitors don't allow you to actually open up the actual sunroof to vent air, which is a nice addition. Overall, the interior is definitely still a great place to spend time. The tech is starting to look a little bit on the dated side, but it does have most of the features that you're expecting. It has an interior that has materials that are average for the segment, but overall, it has nice visibility, and I think most people are going to be pretty happy with the overall package Audi still offers. Moving to the back seat, this is a family vehicle, so you guys are probably wondering what is the space like back here for kids or adults, depending on what you're going to put back here. You can see all Q7s are going to come with this bench style seating configuration. You can't get captain's chairs on this model, so Q7s will top out at 7 people because you can fit 3 in the second row and then 2 in the third row. You can see the backseat materials here on the door panel. They are still the same soft touch injection molded plastic, but it could be softer. The Prestige package includes these manual retractable sunshades. You have more of the beautiful wood padded area over here. There's like an ashtray. It looks like an ashtray here on the door panel. More storage here along with the Bang & Olufsen stereo system. And then Audi says when you get back here, you get around 38.8 inches of legroom. So just shy of 39 inches, which as I get back here, you can see this is where I'd have the seat to drive. There is a pretty decent amount of space. There's good foot space. There's not a flat floor here, so the middle passenger does have to deal with this extra hump. But you can see the Prestige package also includes the quad zone climate control. So each rear passenger gets, or each side of the rear second row gets its own, climate function, along with a 3-level heated seat option, which is nice. You have rear seat air vents. I like the way that looks. Again, that's included with the Prestige package. You have map pockets in both sides of the seats. If you're looking for USBs, there's actually 2 USBs down there, USB-Cs, along with a 12-volt power outlet. And then you can see over here, if you want to push this down, there's a armrest that folds down. This is where you can find your pop-out cup holders, which are a little bit on the small side. The seats themselves, they do offer a recline function. So if I pull that, you can see I can actually recline the seat a pretty decent amount. And because there's a third row in this vehicle, there's also a little lever here which I can slide forward and back. So you can see this is probably where you have to have the seat slid forward to give the third row passenger space. You can see it definitely eats into the actual room back here. But it's nice that, again, Audi gives you the ability to slide the seat forward and back. What I'm going to do is actually slide this forward. It's hard to do with one hand. Slide that forward, so I'm going to demonstrate now the third row and what the space is like. So that's what the seat basically slid forward there. That second row also gives you the ability to slide forward as well, which is nice. Now to get back into the third row, Audi's system is definitely not as family friendly, especially for car seats if you guys need to actually put car seats in the second row. So to get into the third row, you have to pull this lever here, which again, push that down until it clicks, and you have to push this, and that's going to unlatch the seat, and you can see it beeps to let you know that the seat is unlatched, and that again gives you the space to get back here. Now this vehicle is not wide enough to accommodate 3 people across, so you only have a 2-person bench back here, but I'll go ahead and get back here and torture myself for the demonstration purposes. But as you can see, this is with the seat all the way back. If you wanted to show off the legroom back here, I'll slide over to this side. Whew. And Audi says there's 29 inches of legroom back here. 29 inches is small. Look at something like the new Lexus TX. It offers around 4.5 more inches of legroom. You can see this is with the seat all the way back. My knee at 5'7" is slammed up against this, but if you slide it forward, I do have some more space back here. The floor is a little bit on the higher side. You still have these rails that are fixed, so they're gonna kind of get in the way. But with the seat slid forward here, the second row, which eats into the space, you can see it takes up a decent amount of space. I can fit back here, although the headroom space, as you can see at 5'7", is tight. My hair is already touching the ceiling, which isn't great. So again, you're gonna find a lot more space in a lot of its competitors. You do have some features back here. There's a cup holder, hard touch plastic, some carpeting material here. No USB charging ports and no climate vents back here. So some competitors like the new TX offers that. You do have some map lighting back here, which is nice, speakers, but I would have liked to see air vents back here. Something like the MDX doesn't offer air vents in the third row. But overall, again, the third row of the Q7 is, good for kids in a pinch, or adults if you slide the seat forward, but some competitors, newer competitors, definitely offer more adult-friendly third row options in their, I guess, vehicles that they offer. So it's been about 1.5 years since I had a chance to do a video on the Audi Q7, and while we are expecting a revised version to show up for 2025, we're probably around 6 to 8 months away from the 2025 Q7 and SQ7 showing up in the US. So until then, Audi has sent me over this 2024 model, and you guys know the Q7 is the company's biggest SUV. The last time it got a pretty big redesign was in 2017. We saw a big refresh in 2020. So it is definitely due for some upgrades. So I'm looking forward to eventually getting a hold of the 2025 model, probably by the end of this year or early next year. But overall, if you guys are looking for a luxury SUV with 3 rows, this is definitely still a good option. Now that I've had a chance to drive some of the newer competition, it kind of puts it into perspective where the Q7 continues to fit. So the one we're driving is the 55 TFSI. So we have a 3-liter turbocharged V6 with a mild hybrid system, developing 335 horsepower. Audi claims 0 to 60 in the 5.7 second range. So let's go ahead and see what we can get. We have it in Sport Plus. We'll brake torque it. With Quattro all-wheel drive, it just takes off, even though the roads are wet. 0 to 60 in 5.76 seconds. So that's basically the time that Audi says this powertrain will do it in. And that time also puts it into perspective because the Acura MDX Type S did it in 5.5 seconds on that same stretch of road. And the Lexus TX 500h F Sport Performance also did it in around 5.9 seconds. So the Audi kind of splits the difference between the Lexus and the Acura. And remember, those models are supposed to be the more performance-oriented version. Audi offers an even faster version of the Q7 called the SQ7, which I'm hoping I can get one for a week to test later on, because that has the 4-liter twin-turbo V8 developing 500 horsepower. Audi says that model should do 0 to 60 in the 4.4 second range, which is pretty darn fast, honestly, for a 3-row family hauler. Let's go ahead and try it again here. This time I won't brake torque it. We'll just floor it and see if it makes a difference. It's still in sport mode. Definitely not as quick. Sounds good. Quick shifts from the 8-speed. 6.37 seconds there. Now that's with it more going slightly uphill. I'd say if you brake torque it, it'll probably shave around, I want to say 0.3 to 0.4 seconds off. It probably will do it in 5.9 there if I brake torqued it. But again, we're going slightly more uphill. That time is adequate or acceptable. Again, if you want faster versions, there's the SQ8. If you want a slower car that's less expensive, there's also the Q7 45 TFSI, which has a 4-cylinder turbo. I probably would skip that one. Audi claims that model will do 0 to 60 in the high 7-second range. I think that's too slow, especially for a luxury 3-row, flagship style SUV, kind of like, where the Q7 fits in the lineup. But overall, we'll put the drive mode here back into its just D, and then we'll actually switch it over. We'll switch it over later on, but let's talk a little bit about the handling. Now, this model that I'm driving also has the adaptive air suspension, so 4-corner air suspension. It's on these 20-inch wheels, these turbine-style wheels. My tester is lacking like the S-Line Sport package that'll give it bigger brakes, a more aggressive, SQ7 look on the outside. That's a new addition for 2024. The steering in this car is, accurate and quick. It doesn't offer much in terms of feedback. The car itself is just very quiet and refined. It's built on an enlarged MLB Evo architecture, so it's got a longitudinally mounted engine, 4-wheel independent suspension. The car just drives like a luxury SUV, how you would expect a luxury SUV to be. It's very refined, it's very smooth. You definitely feel the weight and the heft of the Q7. It's a 5,000 pound SUV, nearly 200 inches long. So, you know, it's not nimble, but it's also not cumbersome. It just reminds you constantly that you're driving around in a relatively big SUV. The Quattro all-wheel drive system is also good about putting the power down. The 8-speed auto also shifts really nicely. It's well matched to the engine's power band. I do notice that the transmission does tend to hold upper gears longer than I would like, unless you have it in its sport mode. So there's dynamic mode and then drive, and then there's dynamic mode and S. When you put the transmission in S, that makes it drop down a couple gears and makes it a little bit more eager to give up those top gears. But again, you're gonna want that for fuel efficiency. But most people will kind of just drive the vehicle normally. I'm gonna switch the drive mode now. I'll just go to auto. There's like 5 different drive modes for the vehicle. Auto, I think, is what people are gonna have it in most of the times. That's where the car's computer will automatically switch the drive mode based on driving conditions and how you're actually driving the vehicle. So we've got it basically in comfort setting now, in the more efficiency setting. And then if you start driving more aggressively, it'll automatically switch into like a sportier setting for the transmission and for the throttle calibration. Turn the wheel here, and it has a pretty good turning radius. I'll put my foot down. Just in normal driving, this V6 is smooth, it's refined, the transmission, you know, shifts accurately, and it kind of goes about its business without much fuss. That's exactly what you want in a vehicle like this. I do notice, however, at times that the engine, while it does offer, you know, a stump pulling 369 foot-pounds of torque, there's a lot of weight to move around, and I do feel that, you know, vehicles like the Lexus TX 500H with its hybrid powertrain feels a little bit peppier, of course. The Acura MDX Type S also feels a little sportier, but again, this car kind of just has a nice little middle ground. It has good visibility out of the front, the sides, out of the rear as well, although Audi doesn't offer a digital camera rearview mirror. That's something you can get in some of the competitors. It's pretty easy to drive and pretty easy to see out of. The seats are also very comfortable. This is the Prestige model that I'm driving, so it's got the upgraded premium leather seats. These seats are also heated and ventilated, although my Tester is missing massaging seats, which I think you can get on the Q7. I'm not entirely sure you can get on the Q7. You used to be able to, but I'll have to double check that. But I mean, overall, if you're looking for a luxury SUV, you know, for those longer road trips, this is where the Q7 excels. It's comfortable, it's quiet, very quiet, it's super refined, it's super smooth, and that's, I think, what's going to radiate well with luxury buyers. I mean, if you're an enthusiast, this is where the car is going to feel a little too numb. An MDX Type S might feel a little bit better, a BMW X7 may also feel better, but keep in mind the X7 and the GLS are bigger vehicles and they're slightly more expensive than this car. So, you know, I'll be curious to know for the next generation Q7 if Audi decides to go even bigger, because there is room for the company to grow this car, because the back seat space and the trunk space is on the smaller side. Even in this class, it's kind of showing, again, the age of the Q7. Now, thankfully, you know, even though this is the V6 turbo with a mild hybrid system, it does get relatively good fuel efficiency. Now, the gas mileage did improve slightly versus when I had a chance to first test this vehicle a year and a half ago. It's now rated at 1924. In my week's worth of testing, I've been averaging around 23 mpg in mixed driving, which is pretty darn good. On the highway, it did around 26 mpg. So again, that mild hybrid system does a good job. The 8-speed auto, that's where it tends to favor higher gears. To improve the fuel efficiency, also does a good job. With its big 22-gallon fuel tank, this thing was showing around 550 miles of range on a full tank. 550 is more range versus the hybrid Lexus TX 500H F-Sport Performance. So a little bit strange to see that this car has better range, and it's because it has a significantly larger fuel tank than the Lexus. The Lexus has like a 17-gallon tank, this is 22, so it's gonna cost you more to fill this thing up on premium, of course, but the gas is going to last longer, so it kind of just makes up for itself. So overall, you know, the Q7, even though it is starting to get old, you start to feel that when you're driving the vehicle. You know, there is, keep in mind, a refreshed version coming for 2025. I don't know whenever Audi is going to plan to do a fully redesigned version. They may keep this around for a little bit longer now that they've given it another second refresh. But overall, the Q7 is definitely still worth a look. For me personally, as an enthusiast, I am looking forward to driving the SQ7, which I'm hoping Audi will send me at some point later this year. So with a little under 27,000 units sold here in America in 2023, the Q7, while it is not the best-selling vehicle in the segment, does represent a pretty good chunk of sales for Audi. I mean, this is the brand's only three-row SUV in their lineup, so obviously if you guys love Audi and you need something that seats up to 7, this is your only option. After spending the week driving the 2024 model, again, even though this is not the latest 2025 version, which got some styling updates, although the suspension and the hardware and the powertrain didn't really change, this is still a nice driving luxury SUV. As you guys know, it's built off of the MLB Evo architecture, so it's not the same platform as something like a Volkswagen Atlas, which is the MQB architecture. This definitely has upscale luxury feel. I mean, if it underpins vehicles like the Porsche Cayenne and the Lamborghini Urus, the Bentley Bentayga, you better know it's going to be a nice driving vehicle. And the 3-liter turbocharged V6 delivers sufficient power. I mean, 0 to 60 in 5.7 seconds is certainly not slow. It's actually in between the Acura MDX Type S and the Lexus TX 500h F-Sport Performance, which is kind of a really good place to spend time. I don't particularly recommend the 2-liter turbo base engine. Only buy that if you guys are at a budget. But again, if you're looking at a vehicle like this, I think the V6 is going to provide sufficient acceleration. I'm still hoping that I'll be able to get a hold of an SQ7 with the 4-liter twin-turbo V8 because that's going to be the one for enthusiasts. Audi doesn't offer an RSQ7. Go ahead and buy an RSQ8 if you guys want over or nearly 600 horsepower. The rear seat of the vehicle, the second row has enough space, although the third row is definitely small. The cargo area is on the small side. It's still usable, but I'm very curious to see what Audi is going to do for the next generation, because I do think they need to enlarge the vehicle. They need to give it more of that presence that the first generation Q7 have, and I'm expecting the company to eventually show off a new model potentially in 2026 for the 2027 model year. Audi tends to redesign the Q7 every 10 years. So this generation came out in 2017. So I expect a new version to come out for 2027. But if you guys can't wait for the new version or for the 2025 model that's coming out soon, what's it going to cost to get into a 2024 version? Well, this vehicle starts at just over $60,000 for the base premium version with, of course, quattro all-wheel drive. That's with the 2-liter turbo. I, again, recommend skipping the 2-liter turbo and at least going for the V6 engine. This Prestige package that I'm showing you here with the V6 adds around $10,000 in options, but it's kind of worth it considering you get a lot of stuff like the air suspension, the Bang & Olufsen stereo system, the rear window sunshades, the heated and ventilated seats, all that good stuff. My test car, of course, starts at around $74,500. With the minimal options that this model here has, the grand total comes to around $77,900. So just under $80,000, literally puts it within spitting distance of the last Lexus TX 500h F-Sport Performance. It's also around the same price as an Acura MDX Type S. I would argue that those vehicles offer more in terms of design, in terms of fuel efficiency, in terms of power. But if you guys, again, prefer the more, conservative lines of the Audi Q7, also with a nameplate that's also proven, you don't necessarily need the extra space of the Lexus or the extra sportiness of the Acura, and you just prefer the infotainment system of the Audi, this is certainly still with a look. But again, the competition is getting fierce, and it's giving me less and less reasons to recommend the Audi over some of its Japanese, German, and of course other European rivals, but it's still definitely worth a look, and Audi still has a nice driving vehicle if you guys are looking for a 3-row, larger style luxury SUV. With all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the 2024 Audi Q7. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.